Hi everyone! Welcome to Artsonia's After School Art Club. Today, we have a fun art project from Miss Keriann, an art teacher from Wisconsin. Hope you enjoy the video and don't forget to have your artwork uploaded to your Artsonia gallery.
Hello! Welcome to Art with Keriann. Today I'm going to show you a few simple techniques to take something from 2D, which means two-dimensional. It's all on one plane, it's flat on a piece of paper, and we're going to take this drawing and turn it into something 3D, which means it's three-dimensional and is on a variety of planes. So come along with me and I'll show you all the steps to make your own masterpiece.
For this project, we will need to collect some white paper, a small sheet of computer paper will work, a piece of background paper, I am using black but any type of paper will work, a pair of scissors, but please make sure you check with an adult before using scissors. In addition to this, we will also need to collect some tape. I'm using masking tape, but any type of tape will work. We will also need some coloring utensils. I have markers here, but will also be using crayons in my video. And finally, we will need a pencil. I'm starting out with my pencil and white paper. I start by creating one line that starts at the edge of the paper and loops around, getting as close to the edges as possible. I'm also trying to make my loops overlap each other. This is creating a very organic type shape. Now I really wanted to make sure my line reached as close to the edges as possible, so that way my shape that I created is as big as it can be. When working on this project, I really like to start out with the pencil, so that way when I'm making my lines, if I have one small mistake, it's easy to erase and then go back and fix it if I need to. After I have my pencil line done, I will go in with marker and outline it, so that way when I'm going to fill in my spaces or when I'm ready to cut, I have a nice big line to go off of. Now that I have my lines outlined, I'm going to go in and add my patterns. A pattern is a repeating line or shape. Now I've created a big organic shape by using a line that overlapped and made lots of loops throughout the paper. So inside each section, I'm going to put a different pattern. Now as I draw my patterns, I want to be very mindful in the size that I am doing. Each one is going to be filled in with a lot of color to fill in as much white space as possible. So while I do my patterns, I want to make the images nice and big. It's almost as if I am creating a coloring book. Each pattern that I do is very basic. I'm using some polka dots, stripes, and checkerboards, but patterns can be a lot of different things. Are you able to come up with something a little more creative? I really like the star pattern that I have, so I'm going to try to do something a little different. Here I do a flower pattern. Once I've added all of my patterns inside my shapes, I will take my coloring utensils and start filling in all of the white space. Here I am using crayon to fill in my white, but you can definitely use things such as markers, colored pencils, oil pastels, or even chalk if that's what you have. I'm going to take my time and make sure I fill in all of the white spaces. This was why I really wanted to make sure that my patterns were nice and big, because when I'm in these small and more intricate parts, it's a lot harder for some of my materials to fit to add the color in. Now that I've finished coloring, I'm ready for the next step. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my scissors, and I'll be cutting around the shape that I created to get rid of all of this excess white. One of the reasons why I really like to use that black marker to outline that line we did in the beginning is so that way this step is a little bit easier. It's really easy for me to see where my scissors need to go when I make the cuts. Now we're not done with the scissors yet. We're going to make some slits within my shape that I created. I think this first slit I'm going to do is something with this triangle. I'm not going to cut it completely out, but I fold my paper, make a little cut, and poke my scissors in to make some larger cuts. Now I'm going to continue working in this similar fashion, folding it, making slits, and then making some bigger cuts. I'm going to make sure I don't cut all the way to the edge or cut my shapes out completely. What I'm doing is trying to just make some little slits so that way my paper is free to move in some more unique ways. Here I've just added a longer cut, but I've still made sure it stays attached to the bigger form. Alright, now I think I'm ready. My paper is able to move easily when I try to bend and fold it. This is going to create a unique form. If you notice, as I'm working, I'm kind of bending and folding my paper to test out to see what type of shape I might want to create. Now that all my cuts are finished, I'm ready to start creating this into a 3D form. So I'm going to take my background paper, my tape, and my cut shape, and I'm going to start out by just taking one piece of tape and looping it to create a double-sided stick. So here I am, I've created a nice loop, so one end is attached to the other end. I'm putting it on a random spot of my form, and I'm going to go ahead and stick it down to the background paper, and I will kind of adjust and move and fold my shape so that way it goes from 2D to 3D. So it creates a sculptural effect and it has more form to it rather than if it lays flat down on the paper. Now, I'm ready to start making more sticks so that way it stays in its 3D form. So I'll take my loops and attach it to different pieces of my paper and put that onto the base. These will help hold it down, but these can also be used to create more of a 3D form within the rest of it. So here I am, I'm going to put this piece down and I'm going to kind of angle it so it opens the shape up more. If you notice, it opens it right in that spot, but it also opens it farther down in the form to create more of a body. Now with this next loop, I'm going to attach it to an area that's way high up and fold it down more so it creates more of a concave effect, giving my 2D project even more of a 3D look to it. So if you turn it to its side, you can see that my paper angles around, it makes loops, and is very full of shape. Remember, this started out as something 2D, so it's two-dimensional, and is now 3D.
Thank you so much for making art with me today. I hope that you had fun taking something that was two-dimensional and turning it into something that's three-dimensional. It would look great on a tabletop, so that way you can show off to anybody that comes to visit. Thanks again. Bye.